what does it mean to follow Jesus? Perhaps we'll begin where our text does today, with what it doesn't mean to follow Jesus. Peter clearly has some expectations about what Jesus means when he says he's the Messiah. Peter's been following him for a while, so have the other disciples, but all of their expectations are built on kind of their faith, what they think a Messiah will look like. And so when Peter declares that Jesus is the Messiah, he's expecting that Jesus is going to prophetically point out all of the injustice. And as a priest, he's going to probably bring about some new codes, revise the religious law, get it back to the heart of what it once was, and in a kingly way, destroy everything that's oppressive, particularly for his minority group. That's what Jesus will do. And that's what Peter's fully expecting. It's what the disciples are fully expecting. But it's not what Jesus has come to do. And this is probably the strongest place in the Gospels that Jesus reacts to something. I mean, he and Peter are essentially, Peter first tells him kind of to, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. And then Jesus turns around and says, no, actually you. Get behind me. And it's this moment where we're like, oh my gosh. He calls Peter Satan. Like, that doesn't seem very nice. But I wonder if for Jesus in that very moment, it actually is a real temptation moment. Jesus faces Satan in the wilderness, right, with these kind of temptations to use his power to overturn the ills of society. And I think Peter stands there and he offers that again. He offers a moment where it would actually be easier for Jesus, the Son of God, to call down legions of angels and flip over the Roman Empire and make sure everybody has food and get it done, right? But that's not what he came to do. That's what Peter has in mind, but it's not what God has in mind. And Jesus has to sort of resist this temptation to do a minimized version of what it is he's come to do. Because ultimately, Jesus' mission has cosmic ramifications. He didn't just come to point out injustice or overturn one empire. He came to turn those forces inside out. He didn't come just to help one group of people. He came to transform and open the possibility of transformation for all people. And it might be easier to ride in and solve all the problems with a sword, but that's not how death will be conquered. Instead, Jesus will have to die. He'll have to play by the rules of death's game and go into the abyss in order to overturn it. He goes into death in order to flip death inside out, in order for God to reach in and destroy death forever. That's what Jesus Christ comes to do. And everything he does points towards that. He teaches people in a new way so they can begin to broaden their horizons. He heals people so they can understand that what God offers is wholeness of the entire person, from birth through death and beyond. So if Peter is going to follow this person he says is the Messiah, he's going to have to revise what following means. He's going to have to rethink it, because it's not about a new law. It's not about a set of creeds. It's not a set of right behaviors or right actions. It's actually about a new orientation. It's about a new way of being in the world. Freedom from all that binds him. The freedom from death, the freedom from anything that would separate him from God. But what that means is a lot of unlearning, a lot of letting go. See, Jesus, it's an invitation to the freedom found in knowing who God is and knowing who you are. Teresa of Avila, my current homegirl in the land of saints, says that the journey to God is nothing less than the journey to yourself, that they're actually the same. That insofar as we are discovering who we are discovering who God is. And insofar as we are discovering who God is, we're discovering who we are. That the invitation to following Jesus is about that journey, about taking the journey to find who God is and find who we are together. But that requires denying yourself, picking up a cross, and losing what you think is your life in order to find what is actually your life. And that word life is an interesting word. I know we play this game sometimes like, Melinda offers new translation of Greek word, but we're going to play it again briefly, because it actually has import, right? Like, I don't do this to you if I don't think it's, like, important. because sometimes English just is a little bit of a fail, right? So our translation says, like, what shall it profit you if you lose your life? You're going to have to lose your life to find it. Now, for us, life means more like this embodied experience, right? My heart's beating a little fast. My breath is coming, right? Life. The other most popular translation of this word is soul. What can you give in exchange for your soul? What do you lose your soul, right? But soul to us also is some kind of like disembodied piece of ourselves that's super Neoplatonic and not that Christian, right? And it's neither of these. What Jesus is talking about is this Greek word hesyche, which we don't have, but it means like your deepest, most inmost, truest self. Yes, you're an embodied self, but this isn't some disembodied soul. This is the crux of who you are. It's the inner part of you that is one with God. We don't have a word for it, so it's a little bit of an interesting concept. But the invitation in Jesus is to find that place within us, to find the place where we know deeply who we are, and we know deeply who God is, and we realize it's one. And that start to finish, we're participating in the love of God held in that place. But it's difficult to talk about because you can't read a book about it. There isn't some rule that's going to get you there. It's an experience of God. So the invitation to discipleship really is beginning to strip off all the layers of things that we think are our life, to deny them. And sometimes it feels like little crucifixions to let go of these things. And we spend most of our life from the time we're born constructing a self, right? We're born into a family. We figure out how to do life in that family, for good or for ill, right? Family systems determines a lot of who we are, like it or not like it. And those patterns, they just get kind of who we are. And we use them as we go to school, and we encounter teachers and authority figures. We have peers, and we have friends. And they all expect different things of us. And we begin to craft who we're going to be. We're going to be like this group. We're not going to be like this group. I'm going to be the rebel. I'm going to be the quiet one. We begin to decide who we are and shape our path. And we have all these kinds of behaviors that help us do that. Maybe we put on the armor every day so that no one knows who we are. Maybe we try so hard to meet everybody's need because we just want people to love us. Maybe we just don't do a whole lot of anything because really we don't think we're that worth it. No one else probably thinks we're that worth it, so we let it go. And we get addicted to these kinds of behaviors. Maybe we get addicted to other things too, but we think that these things are us. And our successes and our failures, however we decide what they are, we live or die by them. And we create this box that we are. But what discipleship is realizing it's a construction. We're so much more than all of that. If you think that's your life, you can only find something more if you're willing to lose it. If you're willing to let God begin to strip off all those things that you think are yours, that you let people define you by, that you define yourself by, including the wounds. Jesus says, come and follow me. There's more to it than that. You can lose that life to find your real life. And when you do, you'll find that I'm there, that I'm present there in the middle, and that you and I are one, now and forever. See, if we talk about soul, it sounds like it's just something that's happening later after we die, but it's not it. The invitation from Jesus is to live in love now, to know the love holds you, so that when you die, you wake up and it's the same love. I mean, what could you offer in return for that? What would you profit to forfeit that truth? And see, that's what discipleship is. It's that journey, but it has implications, because once you've taken that journey and you know that love is you and you are love, you can't be the same. You realize everybody's on that journey. Everybody's trying to deal with their fractures and their fissures and their brokenness. Everybody's trying to figure out who they are. And if they don't know, well, maybe you can pull alongside. And so the task really is, how am I with God? What am I finding in my life? How am I creating spaces to be with God? What practices does that look like for me? How am I praying? I mean, we come here as one of those practices, right? Because this stuff is hard. We do it together. That's the purpose of church. We do it together so we're not alone in the journey. So people are understanding that we can't describe exactly what's happening to us, but something is. And the person next to us at church says, yeah, I get it. I'm on the journey too. We're doing it together. That's all the programming we do here, people, is designed around that. We offer mindfulness so that we can center ourselves in God. We have Taizé so that we can listen to the music of God and maybe it'll touch us in a different place. We offer Christian formation for kids and adults because the journey's lifelong. God is bigger than anything we can ask or imagine, and we're more than we can ever imagine. We do it here, we do it at home, and it's our lives, and that's discipleship. What would you give in exchange for it? So the invitation from God is certainly deny yourself, but is it really yourself? If you lose all those things, but you find who you really are, what have you lost? What would you trade for that? Discipleship is an invitation to know who you are, to know that you are one in God, and to know that that is love, now and forever.